Let's talk about this promo between Jey Uso and Gunther tonight on Raw. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really did like the promo, but I felt like this was a missed opportunity to do something that would have taken this feud to the next level. Now they still got time between now and Mania to do what I'm talking about, but I felt like in this promo, this would have been the perfect time to do this. And no matter when they do it after the fact, I'm going to look back at this and say they should have done it here. But before I get into this, guys, I want to talk about what I really did like about this promo. First and foremost, being the attire that Jey Uso came out with. He didn't have a Yeet shirt on. You know, he didn't have Yeet all over everything except for his sunglasses, but he came out in all black, just saying, I'm coming to a funeral, right? Basically enhancing the seriousness of the moment. And speaking of the seriousness, I told you guys this last week. I was hoping that he would come out this way this week. And what I'm saying is that when he came out and he saw the crowd yeeting, he didn't yeet with the crowd. I thought that was perfect. I love that because to see that happen to your own brother, for him to get beat to a bloody pulp, bleeding all over Gunther, got Gunther looking like a zombie from The Walking Dead from all the blood and everything, and being zip tied to the rope, to then transition to the following week and come out and yeet like all that serious stuff did not happen. I felt like that would have been extremely weird. I'm glad that he didn't do that when he came out. So we saw Jey Uso walk down the stairs through the crowd, come out to the ring, and have a conversation with Gunther. Well, basically, it wasn't a conversation, but Jey Uso did most of the talking. And he started off basically saying, have you spoken to your mother? Have you spoken to your family? What have you guys talked about? Which in that part, I thought it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? And he was like, did you talk? What do you guys talk about? And he said, for me, I talked to my mom and she asked me, why didn't you protect your brother? And Jey Uso said a line that I thought was pretty cool. He said, now you had his blood on you, and now I got his blood on my hands. Like it's his responsibility for what happened to his brother, that he's supposed to protect his brother. And I thought that was a great touch to everything, you know, showing how vulnerable Jey Uso was. And then he said, basically, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Which I gotta give props to Jey Uso, because if I saw someone, you know, knock on wood, did someone like that that's close to me or my brother, I'll be more scared, right? So for Jey Uso to turn around and say, I'm not afraid of you anymore, I thought that was a great touch because obviously the storyline was that Jey Uso was losing confidence in himself. And to see the person, his older brother, his hype man, the person who was trying to get him to lock in and become this person to win this championship at WrestleMania 41, have gotten taken out of the picture, which I thought was a fantastic thing that they added to the story, a fantastic element that they added to this whole feud. And I thought that was great for Jey Uso. But then to see him transition and say, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, I'm hurt, all these different things, admitting everything that made him vulnerable, and then to transition and say, I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for me, for what's going to happen to you and for the man I'm going to become. Right. And I love that about him because he said at WrestleMania, I got to get you. And it felt like we went through a transition of different versions of Jey Uso, from the Yeet Jey Uso to the Jey Uso who was frustrated while being in a bloodline because he didn't like Sami Zayn being there, to the Jey Uso part of the Uso Penitentiary. I feel like we got a phase of all three of those versions of Jey Uso all in one segment. And I like the fact that he was frustrated, he was angry, but he wasn't like he was when he was a part of the bloodline, where he was just like a hothead. He was just doing whatever, just saying whatever, just going crazy, right? Just crashing out every moment. You can tell that he was frustrated by how he was just clamping his hands together, holding the mic, but it was a more controlled and more mature Jey Uso emotionally, if that makes any sense. So I love the fact that they were able to capture all of that in this moment. Now, there was moments in there that could have been taken off a little bit, but overall, I thought the point really got across. Now, the part that I feel like that there was a missed opportunity here, and what I'm saying by that is that in all of this, after experiencing what he experienced, after watching what happened to his brother while he was zip tied up to the rope, seeing all that blood spilled all over the ring, all over Gunther, and him being this frustrated at this point, and I said this in a previous video, this would have been a perfect opportunity for Jey Uso to introduce a stipulation for their match at WrestleMania, whether it been an unsanctioned match or a first blood or whatever, because this, I told you guys this before, when it comes to the Usos, the better story that is told with these guys is whenever they show they display brotherly love. What will one do to sacrifice for the other? And this will be a moment where Jey Uso is like, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of you anymore. And I'm willing to sacrifice myself in order, excuse me, to take you down for what you did to my brother. And then I'm going to take what belongs to you like you took my brother away from me. I think that would have been a perfect moment to do it, and they missed it. And they missed it because we can't have another promo like this, right? They can have something similar, but it wouldn't feel the same because this is immediately after what we saw happen to Jimmy Uso last week on Monday Night Raw. And I think this would have been a perfect opportunity to do that. But outside of that, I thought overall it was good. But again, I felt like this moment was a missed opportunity to introduce that to Gunther. And to see Gunther's expression to him up in the ante, whether Gunther would have been nonchalant or kind of looked at it like, okay, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. It would have been great to see that because the entire time that Jey Uso was talking to Gunther, Gunther was looking at him like, kind of like, okay, what the heck are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you standing here shaking and things like that? I think Gunther was bracing himself, expecting Jey Uso to crash out and attack him. But as I said before, this is a more mature, emotionally Jey Uso, and I love seeing the character development of him from the beginning of the Bloodline story up until now. So I think that would have just enhanced everything. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section how you guys feel about this promo. I would love to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and enjoying wrestling with me. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a great day.